What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another week of our Dubai Sports Review. We'll be reviewing the Premier League week in review. As you would have observed earlier this week, it has been a quite interesting week. Pretty enthralling, if you ask me. Quite a few upsets, quite a few surprises, and quite a few spankings, which was well deserved for some of those teams. Some of the teams that flared up against the big teams were rightly put in their places. They were rightly dealt with and dealt with accordingly. Unfortunately for the biggest side in England, we were held back by a Fulham team who was quite spirited, one might say. Quite spirited team, as Fulham was. So in this case, we didn't get what we were looking for as far as Manchester United were concerned. But nevertheless, we had some pretty interesting matches. And without further ado, let's take a quick look into these matches. Now we started off the week. Tottenham started off pretty well over the weekend, playing against Man City at the Etihad. Tottenham has a very good record at the Etihad, I must say. They normally went there every season and they normally get a win, or they return the favor whenever City comes to White Hart Lane. However, with the way our City was playing and those new additions that they had, this was an unexpected result in some way. 2-0, Tottenham keeping a clean sheet and defended for their lives. It was pretty rough in the first 10 minutes. However, after Tottenham found that first goal, it was smooth sailing for them. City never really did anything to trouble them. Haaland missed a few sitters, but without downplaying Tottenham's efforts too much, they will need some more players. That team needs some investment, and they have been hit pretty hard as they haven't been getting anybody who they have been bidding for. So that's something that they need to work on going forward. Bournemouth beat 10-man Wolves. This was a very interesting match as well. Lower down in the table, but good football being played, and some new additions to the Premier League. So they have some players that we can really look forward to playing against and possibly scout for bigger teams in the future. Brentford, who are tipped for relegation, did hit Villa for 1-0. Pretty decent showing by Brentford compared to the previous showings that they did when they were out. Burnley spanked Sunderland. Now, this was a match of the two promoted teams. 2-0 to Burnley. Sunderland had begun their campaign pretty well after racing into a 3-0 lead against West Ham. But West Ham duly showed that, hey, they were no threat to anybody, as we would have seen in the earlier match over the weekend where Chelsea spanked them 5-1. It was a poor showing by West Ham. Pretty poor showing by West Ham. It's unbelievable that these teams find the energy and the courage to play against Manchester United whenever they're playing. However, Chelsea did show up. Joao Pedro is becoming such a player, which we all knew he was. So the Chelsea fans should be pretty optimistic for whatever this season brings as far as their team is concerned. The team who we did not want to win anything this season dropped 5-0 on Leeds. Boy, did they put Leeds to the sword. Now, Arsenal has a tendency of allowing these smaller teams to come through and beat them up. Unbelievable. But they were in a no-nonsense mood for this weekend. I mean, they really gave it to Leeds. Put them in their place, dealt with them accordingly. And hey, fair play to Arsenal. Good win. 5-0. Clean sheet. 2 goals for Victor Gyökeres, who silenced all the critics who were saying he had more touches of his hair than touches of the ball. That was pretty good. That was a pretty good comeback from Victor Gyökeres, scoring these 2 goals and silencing the doubters, so to speak. Looking at the other matches, Crystal Palace drew 1-1. Big up yourself, Blanco. Welcome to the live. Tap up your screen and share live. Big up everybody who's checking in. Crystal Palace beat Nottingham Forest 1-0. A real snooze fest there. Nothing to really ride home about. Two defensive teams, well organized. 2 goals. They could have played forever and not scored much more. One of the surprising matches was the Everton and Brighton match. Everton playing in their new stadium for the first time this season started it off in such dramatic fashion. And hey, I want to say this here first. Everton has a new number 10. This guy reminds me so much of Eden Hazard. This guy is really, really good. Very creative. I think his name is Ndai. I don't remember his first name, so I don't want to butcher his name. However, 2-0 to Everton. He was very creative. I think he's the one who scored the first goal. Yes, beautiful assist by Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish is again shining in a team where he's the big fish in the small pond. And that's where he deserves. Smiles, big up yourself, Mr. Johnny Live. Jack Grealish did shine. He had 2 assists in this game. A beautiful cross to set up the first goal for Ndai, which was the first goal in that stadium. Beautiful stadium, by the way. Check out the features on that stadium whenever you get the chance. Everything is automated. Even the beers that they serve, you put down your cup, you pay your money with your card, and it dispenses the right amount of beer for you. And Brighton also had the opportunity to pull a goal back through Danny Welbeck as they had won a penalty in the second half. But Jordan Pickford dived correctly to his left. He saved that penalty and the first penalty save in that stadium as well. So it was a pretty good day for Everton. First clean sheet, first goal, first penalty save. It was very good. It was a very good showing by them. The big bad Manchester United rolled up to Fulham at Craven Cottage, and we attempted to win this match. Now, Manchester United started off pretty well. A very good start by Mateus Cunha. There was a nice long ball over to the top from Altai by in there. Cunha took it down Ronaldinho-esque, but then what a good save from Bern Leno. He was arguably Fulham's man of the match. We hit the post a few times, and this was something that Manchester United will need to work on going forward. We need to work on the finishing. We need to work on the creativity around the box and also our play in the final third. There's a lot of criticisms that can be leveled amongst the players, but tonight, and I'm someone who's very pro Amorim. I'm Amorim in. I won't join that brigade who says Amorim out. But there are some things that I like to point out. The coach is shooting himself in his foot. Poor changes. He's more reactive than proactive. And also, he needs to wake up and fix that midfield. Now, there's two ways to fix this midfield. Chaps, what you do over here so early? What chaps I do over here so early? Defiant Triple say we have players that can do a job, bro. We definitely have players that can do a job. Big up to the Chelsea fan in our house. We have the players who can do the job. But my problem is Triple. We cannot have Bruno Fernandes playing in a number 8 role. He's not a number 8. In fact, you're wasting him. And then taking off Mbeumo should have been the substitution that we made. Instead, we took off Mason Mount and lost control of the game. He was someone who was linking the midfield, and he was linking up pretty well with the forward up front. Chaps, we do cricket as well, man. You know, me used to live at Red Hills, fam. I'm not far from Red Hills. Me used to live there back in 2006 to 9, working there when me younger, you know. But anyways, as a Manchester United fan, it really hurt to see our captain, the Magnifico, being treated like this. He missed a penalty. He missed a penalty earlier in the first half, which would have made it 1-0. And I'm not blaming him. Since I've been watching Bruno Fernandes, I've seen him miss 3 penalties. 1 in the Champions League, 1 in the Europa League, and 1 in the Premier League. But he scored everything else. We could have set on our pots and Bruno Fernandes, make sure it's sorted out. Chap said, bad man, we go buy you a bat and a ball. We not stop support West Indies, man. But thank God the Premier League is back, and thank God me didn't lose. You see your earlier reach over here? Gaga, big up yourself. Akamadi, link up. Alright, so back to the point. Playing Bruno Fernandes in that midfield and wasting Kobe Menu is something that is also shooting the coach in his foot. Ugarte is more mobile, more physical than Casemiro, and I think we need to rotate and manage Casemiro's minutes. Everyone is taking out their frustration on Bruno is a total joke. I agree. And this is why we should not be dragged into that that narrative and negativity that it's Bruno's fault. Absolutely not. He did have a bad game, but he's played out of position. Put Bruno where Mason Mount was, and you'd have a different game. He'd be shooting more, he'd be creating more, and trust me, more intricate passes behind the lines would have been there. Did you notice that Benjamin Šeško didn't get a ball played in behind for him to run onto, and it's in the graveyard shift again? And unfortunately, this is something that Anthony Martial experienced, Cavani experienced, CR7 experienced. God knows how CR7 scored 18 goals in that team. But let's hope that with this new front line, things will change. Chap said, if I was a Man U fan at this time, I would have rather watch Portmore United. Now, man, Portmore United worse than Man U. No bother with it. No, sir. We watch Real Madrid. What is Dalot's purpose in this team? Diogo Dalot is a good defender, Triple. He's a good defender. However, let's put this down to early rustiness or overconfidence. I mean, it's unbelievable that he would have tried to do that turn on control. There was no communication to him either to say, well, man on. But he was one of those persons who contributed to it as well. And Bruno, to an extent, with the goal from Fulham, because he failed to track his runner. But this is not what Bruno does. Do not put him there. Yes, he will run back, but he cannot read that game to run back. I guarantee you put Kobe Menu or Ugarte there, or even the same Mason Mount, you would see a different game. So my proposal going forward for Ruben Amorim is Bruno Fernandes in his number 10. Cunha plays with him and they interchange for the false 9 role. Mbeumo keeps his spot as one of the number 10s behind. So those 3 ballers up front. Mason Mount in the middle with Ugarte or Kobe Menu, and I strongly recommend Ugarte because it cannot be too attacking. That team is too attacking, and in the Premier League you will get exposed. Somebody will find you out. Chaps, I hope on a bounce back because we're a big club. I don't know if you struggle so. I agree, and I understand your sarcasm, but we look forward to bouncing back. And somebody will get it this season. You know. I want to say this. Last week, I didn't do any live. Not that me I run from the Arsenal fans. However, circumstances did not allow us to do that live. However, the way we played against Arsenal, I can definitely tell you, somebody go get it this season. Somebody will be getting a Southampton 9-piece this season. You better take Tapa Whitmore as an coach. No, sir. The fan says, if we can't beat Burnley, it's over for Amorim. Do not go down that path. But we're going to beat Burnley, man. Burnley are going to get it. Burnley not good, fam. Burnley not good. Burnley is going to be the first one to be on the receiving end of this whipping. Because trust me, the way that we are, the mood that we are in, somebody will get it. And unfortunately for Burnley and Grimsby, to show you all the nonsense, to how low we finished last season, we have to play an extra round in the Carabao Cup. Now, this can be a blessing in disguise with the extra round in the Carabao Cup, because some of these players who haven't got minutes and want to get in the team, they can also show up and perform in the Carabao Cup to get down to business and try and get into this team. But Man U huffed and puffed, but in the second half, it was all Fulham. It was all Fulham. The guys were over the place. It wasn't good. No joke thing, but for a big team, only enough for the so a joke thing, Muji. I agree. And it's all down to the management of the club, and I'm speaking specifically about the Glazers and Ratcliffe. I have a brethren who at work, every time he see me, I remember when Ratcliffe was bidding for this club, every time he see me, he would say, why you not tell Ratcliffe to move? I could not have thought that he would have seen so far. I would not have thought that he would have seen so far that he would have foreseen that, hey, they're going to screw you up. Now, if we had gotten the cheat code in Saudi Arabia, we would have been perfect. They would have get it. Left, right, and center already. Arsenal should have gotten a beating or at least a draw the other day. But there's 36 more games to go, and we're very optimistic. Now, one of the matches of the season so far was played at St. James's Park today between Liverpool and Newcastle United. Now, these guys have a bit of bad blood between them. Liverpool raised up Alexander Isaacs, threw off his mind, put in a bid. Newcastle rejected it. Now, Liverpool, in an attempt to raise up Isaac some more, went and splashed some millions on Ekitike, who is a number 9 and who started off very well. Right now, we're not going to get relegated because Everton and Leeds type of ball will not play like a small team. No, man. You know, watch we against Arsenal the other day, G. We look good, man. At least nobody not going to beat you up at Old Trafford like last year. We will at least get that. Now, after signing Ekitike, Alexander Isaac went on a tantrum to let Newcastle know that he's not going to be playing for them. So the Newcastle fans are really pissed off at Liverpool. And Liverpool came to St. James's Park today to prove a point that, hey, we're the bigger team. And hey, there's a hierarchy in football. And right now, little man thing on the day. Ryan Gravenbach, who hasn't scored in nearly 2 years in the league, opened the scoring in the 35th minute with a beautiful goal, nicely placed in the bottom corner. Hugo Ekitike doubled Liverpool's lead. Now, this is something that Liverpool need to look into for the next season as well. Squandering 2 goals lead. This is the second time that they have done this. However, credit to them, they have always came back. Anthony Gordon with a poor tackle on Virgil van Dijk. He received a red card right before halftime. Bruno Guimaraes scored one for Newcastle, and Newcastle also found a late one in the 88th minute. However, Liverpool with a 16-year-old, I think he's 15-year-old, it's called Rio Ngoma. This guy, what a goal today. And I think going forward, the Premier League needs to give persons who make dummies an assist. What a dummy from Szoboszlai to set up that 16-year-old, and what a finish it was. Beautiful goal in the top corner. Nick Pope didn't know what hit him. It was past him in a flash, and yeah, good win for Liverpool. Credit to them, they stuck through to the end. The substitutions that Slot made work, and let's see how they go on this season. As I would have foresaw and predicted, Liverpool should be defending their title, especially with the investments that they did. A quick look at the Premier League table. Arsenal, top of the league. Tottenham Hotspur, tied with them in second. Liverpool, third. Chelsea, fourth. Now, these teams, whilst Chelsea is up there, they have a superior goal difference. Forest next, followed by Man City. Sunderland, Everton, Bournemouth, Brentford, Jesus Christ. Look how far we're there. We need to move from that. That is a very uncomfortable 16th place. Again, with 1 defeat and 1 draw for Manchester United, who face Burnley next. Arsenal face Liverpool. Tottenham face Bournemouth. Chelsea. How would that Chelsea have? Chaps, who have next? I need to check. West Ham and Forest. City and Brighton. And this is like Sunderland and Brentford. Wolves and Everton. Sunderland and Brentford, yeah. But anyways, Man, you have Burnley next, and Jesus Christ, we need to school them. We need to school them. We need to make sure that we school them. Early days, nothing to write home about, nothing too much to complain about more than to fix our own problems that we're having, and in the future, ensure that these things do not recur from a Manchester United standpoint. Fix the midfield, invest in a goalkeeper and in another midfielder. Sell some players so we can reinvest the money into the squad, and let's look forward to a successful season. But there's no way that Manchester United should be finishing anywhere below 5th or 6th place. We need to be at least in the Europa League to even call this season any form of progress. To move from 15th to 6th place isn't too bad, and hopefully win one or two trophies. I would have hoped that we would have hit the straps and started off running quickly, that by 10, 15 games I could say, all right, we're winning the Premier League. But we're definitely not winning the Premier League. Manchester United will finish, I think, 6th. Liverpool win, Arsenal 2nd. Boy, City not look good enough. Chelsea 3rd, City 4th. Those top 4 is going to take care of themselves. What we need to do is ensure that we play our part and ensure that we're in that top 6 or 5, depending on the coefficient for English teams in Europe, so we can get into that Champions League. Bigger investment, better players, and hey, let's look forward to a successful season. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll be with you in a few to play some FIFA and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. All right.